What?
Were you just in there?
Why?
Because I got called down here. Were you harassing them or something?
I don't answer questions.
You got some ID with you?
No, I don't.
Well, what's your name?
Do you suspect me of a crime?
I don't know. Are you in there harassing people? Then I am.
Well, you threatened me earlier.
You threatened me. Come see you later.
If I said that to you, it would be a complaint to the prosecutor, and it would be a
Why would they be? Just because the cops here? The cops are always a hero, or what?
Cops can be heroes.
So can citizens, right?
Sure.
All right.
Absolutely. I would expect you to be.
Well, but not all cops are heroes.
Not enforcement action. Like
Oh,
arrest.
no. You're going to remove
That's
us.
where the difference
No. But removing us from the room.
No, I'm not
No,
removing. No,
yes,
I'm asking you.
You are.
What starts
No.
as a simple visit to a small-town government office quickly spirals into a confrontation with the assistant chief of police, who doesn't seem to understand the limits of his authority. With no crime committed and no legal obligation to identify, the citizen holds firm, while the officer throws around threats, demands, and accusations. This is a textbook example of what happens when public servants mistake accountability for harassment.
What?
Were you just in there?
Why?
Because I got called down here. Were you harassing them or something?
I don't answer questions.
You got some ID with you?
No, I don't.
Well, what's your name?
Do you suspect me of a crime?
I don't know. Are you in there harassing people? Then I am.
If you can articulate that you suspect me of a crime, I'm legally obligated to provide identification to you.
Well, why don't you tell me what you did in there? That's pretty simple, right?
Can I get your name and badge number, please?
It's Christian Gole, badge number 29.
29?
292.
Okay,
292. Can you tell me what was going on in there?
I've already
No,
articulated
listen.
I don't answer
Okay.
questions,
Have
but
a good day. Bye.
okay.
I'll be talking to you later. Hey, if you don't have any business here, you need to leave the property.
I do now. I've got business now.
With what?
Well, you just made a threat. You said you'd be seeing me later, so I want to see what you're up to now. You're a public official.
Wait here for me, please.
I have a right to record public officials in their public capacity from public spaces. This town hall is a public space, sir. Where do you get off making threats to me?
I'm not making threats.
What did you mean you'd see me later?
I'll see you later.
What do you mean you'd see me later? What do you mean by that?
Saying that you're harassing them. Were you harassing them?
Nothing's obvious to me.
Listen.
Nothing's obvious to
Let
me.
me gather my information.
Let me exercise my freedom. Let me exercise my right to record you in public.
Well, I need to talk to them by
What?
myself so they don't feel threatened.
I'm going to take them
You
into a
understand?
private area. This is a public area.
Okay.
Morris County, 1917.
You can stay right here. You can't come back here. This is out.
41, 16, right to the range.
All right. Here's the problem, okay? If you want public information, you have to put your name on there, so fill it out.
Is that right?
Yeah, you just put NA.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Are you familiar with the IC code 3-14-5?
Public information.
The Access to Public Records Act,
You're not gonna
APRA.
put your name on it.
Well, the only reason I bring it up, sir, is because it's not a problem. It's actually not a requisite of the law that you put your name on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
It's the problem, I think, is coming around, threatening me, acting like you know the law, acting like you know what I should have to put on a public records request.
you know what I got called for.
Look,
Do you?
I'm going to tell you
Do
what
you?
I'm going to tell you one
I
thing.
will give you
I
that
don't know
record.
what you got called for.
Okay. Someone was down here causing problems. If they feel threatened, I'm going to come down and check it out. That's my duty.
So
correct?
because they feel
Okay,
threatened, you're going to come and
but then
threaten
when I
me?
come and
You're
talk-
going to come and
When
verbally threaten
I
me?
didn't threaten you.
You said you'd see me later.
Yeah.
That's a loaded statement with a gun and a badge
I
on.
will see you later to get your information because you're not being cooperative.
You are an absolute chump. You know that too.
All right. You can have a good day.
Lying, thieving, government workers.
You're wasting their time down here. You're wasting my time.
I was in here for you. So since
obviously.
All right, you coming in here? You coming out?
Yeah, I'm coming outside.
All right.
So if your business is done here,
Sir, don't tell me what to do. I will do as I please as long as I stay within the confines of the law. And I suggest you do the same.
I do.
Well, you threatened me earlier.
I
You
told you
threatened
I'd come
me.
see you later.
If I said that to you, if I said that to you, it would be a complaint to the prosecutor,
That's
and it would
gray.
be a goddamn jail sentence
That's
for
a
me.
gray area.
Yeah,
Now
and I know
listen,
what? Because it's
if
you,
you
because
have
you're
a
a
problem
sovereign
not
citizen,
giving me-
because you're a
I'm
sovereign
not a
citizen.
sovereign citizen.
Well, what happens if you
I'm a
break the
US
law?
Citizen.
What happens if you break the law? You don't get in trouble.
Oh, yes, I do.
Well, you're a sovereign. You got that assistant chief of police. You can go beat the hell out of anybody. You could shoot anybody, and nobody's going to arrest you.
Oh, whatever.
You know that's damn right. You know that's right.
I don't need this from you today.
I don't need anything from you, and you came over and asked me for my name. Get out of here. No better than those Fort Worth cops that beat the shit out of that woman last night.
The real lesson here is simple. Exercising your rights isn't a crime, no matter how uncomfortable it makes authority figures. When public officials react with hostility instead of professionalism, it reveals more about their training than your actions. Always know your rights, hold your ground, and document everything. Because when the badge forgets the law, the camera becomes your best defense. In a world where feelings are becoming the new law, one sergeant forgets what he swore to uphold, the Constitution. When a group of citizens dares to question police actions, the encounter quickly becomes a lesson in ego, misunderstanding, and misplaced authority. Cameras roll, voices clash, and the First Amendment is on trial once again, not in court, but right there on the sidewalk.
Vehicle. You guys all right?
Why wouldn't they be? We always make sure. Make sure of what?
Why would they be? Just because the cops here? The cops are always a hero, or what?
Cops can be heroes.
So can citizens, right?
Sure.
All right.
Absolutely. I would expect you to be.
Well, but not all cops are heroes.
Every cop that was here is a hero.
I don't know. I haven't seen anybody save a life.
And you've been on how many calls with them?
Probably 4 tonight
4 with who?
with all of these
So
guys.
you're following them around?
No, we just happened upon them.
Uh-huh.
And what if I was following them?
What's that?
What if I was following them?
Well, that'd be inappropriate.
Is it? But is it illegal?
Not necessarily.
No, not necessarily.
It
Okay.
would depend on if you started interfering with any kind of...
I don't interfere, but you're free to go. Carry on.
Yeah, you're free to go too.
You're dismissed.
So are you.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm free to stand right here.
Why are you being like this?
Being like what?
Why are you... What?
Hey, what's the First Amendment? What's my freedoms are in the First Amendment?
What's the
If you
matter?
answer that, then you are a winner, you are a hero. But I guarantee you can't answer it. And that's the problem.
Watch yourself for officer safety.
Thanks, I appreciate that. That's all right.
Hey, First Amendment. Take a look tonight.
That's called freedom of speech.
Right, I understand that.
That's called freedom of speech. It doesn't matter if it's appropriate or not. I'm allowed to do it. I have that right.
But if somebody called up and...
I have rights. You all have
Let me
privileges.
ask you a question. How would you feel if somebody just walked up to you and called you a name?
That's their right. That's called freedom of speech. If you understand, why is it a conversation about what's right and wrong? It's about what's legal.
But it's not nice.
Who cares? America, I fought for this country.
So did I.
Well, guess what? Why are you not fighting for free speech? Just you're fighting for feelings.
I firmly believe in free speech.
Then why are you even bringing it up?
Firmly.
Who cares?
Because
It's words are words.
I don't cuss myself.
Well, that's your opinion. That's your right to do that, and it's my right to sit here and call everybody a stupid fucking cocksucker if I wanted to. I mean, I'm 18. I paid my dues.
Yeah, but who cares? It's freedom of speech.
Well,
man.
it is.
So that's
but
the only
still-
thing. Well, that's your feelings come into play, though. Like if you just left it, that's our right to say whatever we
Yes,
want. Then
yes and no.
without threat.
Yes and no. However, let me throw this one by you. You start calling somebody names, or they're calling you names.
Yeah.
Would you be calling them names with the expectation that maybe they feel like you're assaulting them, or
Their
belittling them?
feelings don't trump my rights.
No.
They're
they
feeling.
don't. That's not what I'm saying.
You express. You ask if they're feeling like I'm attacking
Could
them.
it make a situation worse?
If they're little pussies, yes. But who cares? This is America, brother.
Right, and there's a lot of them out there.
A lot of pussies,
Yes, there are.
But
And there's a lot of them that are cops too.
You know what?
That get offended easily.
That's on them.
Exactly, and just like what you just said, that's on them. Those people that are oppressed and hurt by what I say, that's on them, not on me.
It is.
So
on them.
that's
I
up
agree.
to them to.
However, could it make the situation worse?
That's not my problem.
Well, it
That's
could.
theirs.
Yeah, but who cares? That's all feelings, man.
Right.
Like,
But-
words, I mean, who gives a shit? Like, someone can call me a fucking dumbass nerd idiot, and I'll be like, oh, what the hell? You know, it's how I interpret those words. Am I going to, no, it's free, it's America. I don't care. Say all you want to me. You know, like, but everybody should be on that line, especially you guys, because you guys are the ones enforcing things, or you might do some bullshit, oh, disorderly, or some bullshit like that. It's like, no, that's not how it works.
Well,
We have
hopefully you
freedom
don't
of
see
speech.
any
Huh?
BS like that here. Cedar Rapids is a pretty good department. They are.
I cannot confirm nor deny because I've not dealt with them enough.
So what was your name, rank, and badge number, real quick?
My name is, I'm Sergeant Herbert.
Herbert?
Herbert, yep.
Like Herbert Hoover?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. My badge number is 810.
810. All right. Cool.
Yeah. Who'd you serve with?
173rd.
173rd Army?
Airborne. Yes, sir.
I was in the Marines. In the 90s.
Did you guys eat crayons back then?
Come on, man.
Hey.
Come on. All right.
That had to be done.
Crayons that they pulled right out of the jar.
Play-Doh.
Play-Doh crayons?
Love Play-Doh.
Oh,
Hey,
okay.
just remember, we're out here making sure you guys are honoring that oath. I'm not going to put you on the spotlight now, but think about it. You don't have to answer, but do you even know the 5 freedoms in the First Amendment alone? And that's the thing, 95% of these cops, they have no idea that oath is.
I have.
America doesn't know.
I know.
No,
that's
but-
okay.
but-
That is correct. That is correct. However, you guys are in that position that you have to respect that oath because you guys swore to it, just like we did in the military, right? So this is your number one priority that you guys need to be taking so seriously because our rights are on the line, our freedoms are on the line. If you start
They're slowly taking our rights.
Like, hey,
Not
that guy's
us.
language isn't-
No, but you.
Police department's not taking your
No, but you guys are the ones left in charge of defending our rights. When's the last time you quoted your oath to your department and to the city?
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, exactly. That's
on me. That's my. And
But-
personally, I love this job.
Do you
I love this
love
job.
freedom?
I do love freedom.
Okay, so what's the 5 elements of the First Amendment?
What is the 5 elements?
I'm asking you.
You know, I couldn't name all 5 elements.
Exactly.
Okay.
No, I have been in probably 30 different states asking officers, and not one can tell me more than 2.
Okay.
That's a big problem.
It depends on how you look at it.
No
If
no
I'm
matter
not
how you look at it,
violating any of
regardless.
those elements,
Yeah, but you won't know what they are because you don't know them. That's the problem because it happens all the time.
Your
You
coworker
know-
violated my Fourth Amendment right and wanted my ID for no reason.
Yeah, you got to commit a crime for that. Reasonable,
how,
articulable
how
suspicion.
do they violate your
Reasonable, articulable facts.
You wanted my ID without having any evidence I committed a crime. That's a Fourth Amendment violation.
Not necessarily.
It absolutely is.
Not necessarily.
Well, it's case law.
For any of your IDs.
And I won't give it to you.
Oh,
You
you
won't get
you
it.
can ask all day. You can't
Right.
demand an
But he
interaction.
demanded of
That
him.
was a demand.
Demanded of him.
So what was his justification for it?
He didn't like I was filming a police car on public property, and
You film my car, it's actually nice and clean.
he swore at me with 7 cops.
He what?
He swore at me with 7 cops. He didn't want to give his name and badge number, and he had no ID and no badge on and no uniform.
Then how do you know it was a cop?
I finally got him today. It was Dillinger, private investigator Dillinger.
We don't have a Dillinger.
Private investigator.
Private. Either way, he works for your department. Maybe I'm not remembering his name. But
We don't have a Dillinger that works for our
So-
department.
White
Somebody
Sala
was
complained
yanking
about
your-
him with his video.
Somebody was yanking your chain, man.
Let me ask you a question. Have you ever arrested another officer
Yes.
for a serious crime?
Yes. That they ended up getting fired for.
Fired, and did they
Yes.
do jail time?
Yes.
Good. Good. And again, we're not out here to give you guys a hard time. We want to be able to do what we do without being harassed. And like with me walking over there to go stand on the other side and her doing that, that's very unprofessional. And that's the type of thing, like, I have a camera. The camera don't lie. I can't show a good side or a bad side. That's on you guys. So when you have an interaction with we the people, that only makes you guys look better. When you're cordial, professional, honor your oath, go by your policies and procedures. Do you guys have a policy of identifying? Is it in your policies and procedures to identify to a member of the public when asked?
Because I had 2 of your officers that didn't want to identify outside the courthouse.
No, I appreciate that, but
why wouldn't you? It's a
exactly.
law that you have to.
Yeah, well, it's your policy. So,
it's in your policy. When you signed up, it's in your policy that as a member, if the member of the public asks for your name and badge number in a timely manner, you are to provide that citizen with name and badge number. And a lot don't.
If they're caught
a lot
doing
don't.
Something that they shouldn't be doing, or treating the public with disrespect, any of that, right? And they're like, "Hey, what's your name and badge number?" I ain't telling you.
I don't have to give that.
Yeah, it happens so much, it's insane. However, I have one thing for you.
What's that?
If you would, because I'm not going to quiz you or anything right now, because I'm going to be coming back, Sergeant Herbert. This would make you look excellent. If you were to look up, maybe tonight, take fucking 5-10 minutes max, just the first 5 elements. There's only 5 in the First Amendment alone. If you do that, and if I come see you next time, shit, you could be a star. Who knows?
Well, I don't want to be a star.
You got a chance right now. You got 40 people watching you.
Why are 40 people watching me?
Because they love freedom. This is one of our freedoms. This is one of the elements of the First Amendment.
I don't care that you...
No, and I'm not saying you do, but that's what we're trying to get through to departments across the nation.
Yeah, I mean, sure, you're doing the right thing. You're doing good. And you said that you would look that up, and you'll see me back. You'll see me back. And if you can answer this shit, that shows not a non-disconnect, shows a connect that we actually...
A willingness to learn.
Willingness to learn. That's your oath, man. Everybody should know that has that badge on. And if you do that, you have no idea how many people will see that and be like, oh shit, okay, this guy actually did something fucking really good. And then you'd be I don't know your past, but they would be like, this guy's a good cop hero.
I like to think people think I'm a good cop anyway.
That lady cop, do you know who it was?
I do.
Do you know her name and badge number?
No, her name, I'd have to look her badge number.
What's her name?
Her last name's Cavan.
Cavan?
Yep.
Cavin or En?
Yep.
And are you going to have a talk with her about that?
Yeah, sure.
Unprofessional?
It was unprofessional.
It was. Very unprofessional. And everybody appreciates that too, that it is imperative that you guys police the police too, not just the citizens.
Well, that's my job.
That's everybody's job. If you see something, say something. If you see something, say something, right?
It's my job to make sure that they're...
Well, as a law enforcement officer, it is everybody on the police force duty to uphold the law, no matter who they're upholding it against. And that's what we want to.
But there's a difference between upholding the law and just acting like a jackwagon.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean as far as policing the police yourselves. Hold yourselves accountable and take appropriate action when needed.
Accountability, huh?
Accountability.
Accountability is a huge thing.
Accountability. I think generations have forgotten or lost touch of what accountability really is.
It's getting to that point. The younger generations for sure.
Yep.
Yep.
How long are you guys?
For me, I mean, shit.
How long are you guys gonna be out? Just curious.
Oh shit, I might be fucking all night.
Yeah, it could be.
I'm not even tired yet. I had migraines all day, so now I'm actually awake.
Could be all night.
Where are you guys from?
Everywhere.
Yeah, I don't have
You
a...
gotta be from somewhere.
Well, multiple houses, different states.
I'm from my mama, really.
Okay. Excuse me, sir. Sorry.
Don't have to apologize to me. So, yeah, we'll be around.
So you guys just walk around filming?
Public officials, public servants in the course of their duty.
Yeah.
Accountability and transparency. That's what we're all about.
And even when you don't think we're filming, we're still filming.
You can film me all you want. It doesn't bother me.
Yeah, there's, I mean, Not necessarily you, but that's a statement for all.
It's a general statement.
I mean, you seem fine with it,
Yeah.
obviously. But
Yeah, I don't.
there's a lot like that. Whoever did that horn or whatever, they probably don't want to be filmed because they might not be doing what they're supposed to be doing every time. And that's a big problem. I know you're the shift supervisor or whatever for the night. Maybe you're on top of it. I'm not too sure. I won't say you're not. However, I will get back to you with that question that I asked.
All right. I'll look it up.
Well, and I'm glad that the conversation improved from where it started.
Yes,
So, and I thank you for that.
Well,
Well,
I appreciate that.
It didn't start out very good. And now we're actually having a cordial interaction and discussing things. So that's a step in the right direction. That's what we're looking for. Community policing instead of just harass and collect. You know what I mean?
Well, I think when you look at it, like, okay, I'm here trying to do my job.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys come up and are filming, and you're kind of standoffish because you want to catch us doing something bad.
No, we don't want to.
Good.
That's
Fine.
no, because that's an assumption. So
You're right, it is. But then after we talk for a little bit, I realize, just like you realize, you're not out here to make everybody look bad.
no, I can't make nobody look
So
bad.
I mean, I think it was a decent.
Well, like I said, it started off a little iffy, but after we continued to push the issue of conversation, I think it improved. And I think that's what we as a society in general need to do to bridge that gap between officer and civilian. Because there's too many times that, you know, you guys are unwilling, and I'm not saying you in general, but officers in general are unwilling to have a conversation and discuss things. They're too quick to go hands-on or too quick to assume that we're up to no good. You know what I mean? You made a snap judgment when we got here thinking that we was up to no good or that we was being standoffish.
I didn't assume you were up to no good.
Well, no, but you assumed in your own words that you admitted you assumed that we were standoffish or that I was. So,
Yes.
You know,
so
for one, we'll never be able to catch anything bad from you if you don't display anything bad. You know what I mean? No matter what, even if we're the ones that look like shit, if we're the ones yelling at you guys, whatever, and you guys are doing the right thing. You know, you can never look bad if you do the right thing.
I get yelled at every night
Yeah,
at work.
exactly. But I'm putting that in general because you might understand, but a lot of them don't, and that's the problem. I've been to well over 100 different police departments. I've had interactions with all sorts of people, and it's hard to find really good ones. Like,
Have you been here before?
Probably. Well, in Cedar Rapids, yeah.
come on.
Have you been in the station before?
I've been in Cedar Rapids, yeah.
I might have talked to you before. Might have been a couple years ago. How long have you been doing this?
A couple years.
Might have been a couple years ago. I might have talked to you before. In the station there.
Maybe. I don't know. Did you used to sit up front in the window?
No, I did not sit in the window.
That was
no.
the guy that I made a complaint on.
Yes.
But maybe it was US.
I was probably the one that took the complaint.
Yeah, that was a while
I
back.
was probably working the command desk.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I will be coming back to you, though, for sure. And it's going to be your time to shine. Remember, First Amendment, first five freedom.
I don't need to shine,
Yes,
but you're right. I should know them.
Yes, absolutely.
I agree.
And I appreciate you saying that. And all these officers need to know. You know that. You know, I don't know if you understand like how big of a deal that is quite yet. Maybe when you go home think about it, you might be like, oh shit, it is a big deal. But if all these officers were able to be like, dude, I know the First Amendment, fuck you, and you say them all, it's like, oh shit, this guy knows his shit.
That eases a lot of tension between everybody.
It's hard to uphold someone you don't know what it is.
Right, but I'm not enforcing the First Amendment.
No, you're just defending it.
Well, you need to, and defend it.
Well, no, I give you the right to say whatever you want, basically.
But the
other,
You don't give me nothing.
you have the freedom of speech. I'm my personal responsibility as a cop is to not be offended by whatever you have to say.
Yes.
But your oath of office is to uphold the Constitution of the
I'm sorry, I don't hear well.
You said your oath of office, though, is to uphold the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of Iowa. And therefore, you should know the First Amendment, and you're upholding each five elements.
Do you know the First Amendment?
I did.
What is it?
Hey, hold on. Hold on. Don't say nothing because this is what we do for once.
I know it,
100%, but you cannot cheat because
that's not cheating.
That is cheating.
Hold on.
I'm using my resources.
I know. Oh, that's smart. But I want to come to you. It could just be me and you, or who knows who else is here. But I'm going to find you, Sergeant Herbert.
All right.
I promise you. And if I come out,
all right. I'll come talk to you. You guys, it doesn't bother me to talk to you guys.
Or you might have a grandma come ask you.
Yes, a grandma?
Yes. We do have
or you may have some mass singer.
She's locked in the basement.
There's a lot of, yes.
Anyway, we got other things to do, and I'm sure you do too. So
what we saw wasn't just a clash of opinions. It was a clear abuse of power hiding behind a badge. When officers try to weaponize feelings to silence criticism, that's not law enforcement, it's tyranny in uniform. Don't let them blur the lines. You have every right to film, to speak, and to challenge authority in public. Next time someone tries to bully you with a badge, stand your ground. The Constitution is not optional, it's your shield. What happens when the people who swore to uphold the Constitution choose obedience over integrity? In a public meeting room, a citizen stands firm, demanding answers, not just from a commissioner abusing their authority, but from the very deputies sent to enforce that abuse. No laws broken, no crimes committed, just power exercised without accountability. What unfolds next isn't just a clash of opinions, it's a test of every officer's oath to the Constitution, and whether they even remember it.
Time keeps counting, but we don't get thrown out. I'd like to know why. From what I understand, we had somebody up there motioning for you to come escort me out. And you started to get up, but then sat back down. Okay. So I guess the problem we have right now, and this is a real issue, is that you have a county, one or two county commissioners up there taking actions unilaterally that apparently the rest of the county doesn't side with. Because the deputies, when she said done, isn't that the point you're supposed to come up and remove me?
They didn't ask us to do that.
But she said done, and she cut my mic.
Okay.
Do we not understand
I'm not going to speak for them.
I understand, but I'm looking at the law enforcement angle of this. You guys are getting obvious cues that say done, and that's where we're technically out of order, right? Are we not out of order when they say done and just mute our mic?
This is a forum that they're conducting.
Right, I understand.
So there's nothing.
But are we not out of order? So you're saying we're not out of order? Nothing criminal that you've seen. You hear that, Jill? You hear that, Jill? It's going to be your tax money on the table too, hon. Do you guys realize what's going on?
What you just addressed, yes, I saw what happened, yes.
But I don't understand why time's still counting. The mic goes off.
I am not going to speak for the
and the deputies stay still. So the only reason you stayed still was because they didn't ask you to do anything.
There was nothing criminal that happened that we had to take action on.
Okay, but hold on just a second, but if it's not criminal, hold on just a second, Justin. But if it's not criminal, if there's nothing criminal that happens, so what I'm understanding is that you're waiting on a cue from them to take action to remove us from the room, is that right?
Say that again.
If there's nothing criminal that's happened, and we get to a point where they say done, and at that point, I understand, but technically at that point we are now, I guess you would say, out of order. Is that not technically out of order?
That goes to the county.
I understand, but at that point, no. What I'm wanting you to answer is, what I'm saying is, you're not going to move until somebody up there tells you to act. Is that right? Unless you see something criminal.
Unless there's something criminal.
Okay.
And I'm not going to say I'm not going to move. I mean, I can move around as much as
Right, I understand, but you're not going to move as far as taking enforcement action.
Correct.
Unless you physically yourself see something criminal.
Yes.
Unless they tell you to.
Correct.
Okay, now I guess here comes my next question. This one may be a little bit more difficult. When they tell you to, what happens if you don't believe what's happened is wrong? Do you
I
have
have to go by the law.
Okay, what happens if they're telling you?
I'm not going to get into hypotheticals.
I know we don't. I know we don't like hypotheticals.
In the courthouse that you lied about. Why did you have me removed? Was I doing something wrong?
That I lied about.
Yeah, you said that you weren't there when you had me removed from the courthouse.
When you misspoke. When you misspoke.
Yeah, when you misspoke. You clear as day was there.
Okay, I was talking. Right, I was talking.
Did I commit a crime? Is that why I got removed?
I wasn't there for the county commission meeting where you were removed from the county commission meeting. I was not there. That's what I thought you were referring to.
Not the arrest.
And I told
Yeah,
Michael.
we're after that.
Separate
We're after
incident
that.
where you were involved and had me removed from the meeting in May of 2022.
You're gonna like that shit? No, you're not, man. You're not, because it's fucking wrong. It's America, man. It's America.
Did I commit a crime? You were one of 3 deputies. You came lurching out from behind the door and walked up with the other deputies and had me moved out of there. It's you, and you lied about it. So did I commit a crime?
I've explained this. I'm not going to get into it again.
So was I committing a crime?
You were asked to leave
So
from the county
was I
commission.
committing a crime?
No.
Okay.
So you said the only actionable stuff is if there's a crime being committed? Or if you're
We will act if there was a crime being committed.
So what was I doing wrong that I got removed from that?
You were asked to leave by the county commission,
So
and
that
we
automatically
escorted
means
you
that
out.
I'm
I think
wrong.
that was the extent of it. Was it
That
not?
means I'm automatically wrong.
Was that not the extent of it?
Let me interject here because I guess I want to
Under
get to
the
the.
threat of being arrested? Are you kidding me? Like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna walk out of you guys because we're friends. You guys are law enforcement that clearly would arrest me and clearly lie about it.
Were you arrested then?
No, but you clearly would arrest me. Clearly.
We have that authority to arrest
Right,
you.
exactly. So it's not like I was just like, okay.
That's
So
what
then
I'm
why did I have to leave?
They asked you to leave. We asked you to leave.
You know,
As soon as they say something, you gotta do it.
You gotta hand it.
Is that what you're saying?
Hey, you know
He's
what?
asking you what kind of discretion you have here, but it's just as soon as they say something, you do it, huh?
Hey,
Because you don't like me?
You know what?
Is that what it is?
You gotta hand it to him. You gotta hand it to him because most people would just run off from us. You gotta hand it to him.
It is.
No, hold on. Yeah, but here's the real question. If there's nothing illegal happening and you're not acting based on something illegal happening, something criminal act.
Right.
Okay.
In our presence.
Right.
Yes.
And now, remembering that part of your oath as a deputy is swearing an oath to the Constitution of the United States and the Kansas Constitution, right?
Sure.
Okay. When they illegally or against our rights direct you to have somebody removed, what do you do?
It comes to us because we are the ones that are the authority. So we need to know the law.
So do you make the constitutional determination for them, or do they make it and direct you?
I'm not going to do hypothetical.
No, this isn't a hypothetical. This is actually asking about procedure in this kind of a situation where you have a commissioner deciding that they are going to say this person needs to be removed.
Mm-hmm.
And
We will ask them to leave.
but without any questioning, no question at all. If they say remove, you're going to tell them to leave.
I'm not going to tell them. I'm going to ask them.
No, I understand, but no question. There's no question going to enter your mind. If the commissioner says, Dale Flory, Sergeant, please ask this person to leave, you're just going to do that, 100%.
We will for the commission.
Okay, now I want to drill down to what our problem is and the disconnect between us.
Sure.
You took an oath to the U.S. Constitution.
And
you took an oath to support my First Amendment right in this room, as well as out on the streets.
Yes.
And you took an oath to support my Fourth Amendment, my Fifth Amendment, my 14th Amendment. But what you're telling me here is that even if a commissioner is wrong and going to violate my rights, just because they say so, you will take action. That is the disconnect between us.
So, not enforcement action like
No,
arrest.
no. You're going to remove us.
That's where the difference is.
No. But removing us from the room.
No, I'm not removing.
Yes,
I'm asking you.
You are. No, at that point, when they have told me to leave, you are no longer asking me to leave. It's not an option, right? It's not an option that I have to leave, right? It's not like you're asking me. Let's.
I understand where you're coming
Okay,
from.
so you are. Hold on. So you're coming.
I'm hoping for compliance.
Right.
You would leave.
But if I don't comply, you're going to use force, if
I don't know that they
necessary.
would do that.
If necessary.
If a criminal violation has occurred.
Hold on, but see, hold on.
I know
You're
that.
adding in the criminal violation, and that has nothing to do with it. We have a commissioner who is telling me to leave, and Dale Flory has already told me that if that commissioner says to leave, no matter what, you're going to go do it. Now, what my issue is here, what if that commissioner is telling me to leave and violating my First Amendment rights, and Dale Flory doesn't stand up and say, wait a minute, Commissioner, you can't quite do that. That's how Dale Flory gets named in lawsuits. Do you realize that?
Sure.
Okay, so who's your allegiance to, the Constitution or that commissioner who tells you to have me leave?
The Constitution has
Okay,
overriding.
then what I would suggest that you do is never again take the stand that just because that commissioner tells me to leave this room, that you are going to enforce that. You owe me.
It's a consent if you agree to leave.
No. We're not going to go back to consent because we've already gotten to the point, and let's not rewire this. We've gotten to the point where the commissioner says leave, and if I don't leave, force will be employed to get me out of this room, even if I don't consent.
I don't know that it would go that far.
But if I don't consent, I'm going to leave the room one way or the other, right?
Sure, we all.
Okay, so let's not play semantics about asking and this and that, because we know that ultimately I'm going to leave the room no matter what, and that's going to potentially involve force if I do not comply, correct?
If a criminal law is violated.
No.
You say no.
Forget the criminal law.
Uh-huh.
So the commissioner tells me to leave.
This is an open public forum.
No, it's not an open public forum. This is a limited public forum. Let's make sure to get these definitions correct.
Yes.
Okay, but let's go through this one more time and stay with me, and let's not throw criminal charges in here that aren't here. You have a commissioner up there, and I'm speaking. The commissioner says, you are out of order, you have to leave, and motions for you, and gives you the directive to come up there. You've already told me that when that commissioner tells you I have to leave, regardless, you're going to tell me to leave.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I'm
now,
going to ask you to leave.
But now we're going to get into the semantics about ask and tell and force and all that stuff again. But the end result of you asking me to leave is that I'm going to end up leaving the room, right?
Eventually, yes.
Right.
He doesn't have an option to say, no, I'm not leaving.
I don't have an option to say to you, no, I'm not going to leave. What are you going to do then?
Ask you to leave.
And you're just going to keep asking me, and we're going to go in this circle for how long?
I mean, you can stay here unless there's a criminal. I keep going back to that.
But there's the criminal is not the aspect of it. You have times where we've had these commissioners have you escort people out of here. Hold on. Where you have, that's what he just said is the real point. There was no crime committed, and you still escorted him out.
Right. You voluntarily left.
You gonna like that shit? No, you're not, man. You're not, because it's fucking wrong. It's America, man. It's America.
No. Oh my goodness, buddy.
We walked up to you.
Voluntarily left?
Did we place our hands on you today? Did we place our hands on
Okay,
you?
how can you dare tell me that two officers coming up, standing beside me, giving me directives to get out of the room, and I'm voluntarily? How is that? I mean, can you help him out with this?
Evening, beta male. I'd like to start off with a quote by Einstein, who once said, "The thing about smart motherfuckers is that they look like crazy motherfuckers to stupid motherfuckers."
Turn my mic back on. Turn my mic back on. Turn my mic back on. Turn my mic back on.
We're not going to turn your mic back on.
Why are you silencing me?
You directed derogatory language at us, so that's the end of your comment.
You guys go by that. Man, are you guys safe? That's your rule, man. Turn my mic back on. Turn my mic back on.
You can sit down and enjoy the rest of the meeting with us, or you can leave, but your public comment is over.
Why?
Because of your vulgar language.
What about it? What about it? I'm campaigning. I'm speaking to my base right
So
here.
I'm going to ask you one more time. You can sit back down in the gallery. Yeah.
No. I want to speak, man. I want to speak. You've done this to me a lot. You need to let me speak. You need to let me speak. You need to let me speak. This is censorship. I have a right to speak.
You can sit down or you can leave.
I have a right to speak. Like you're a tyrant. You're a tyrant.
Yeah.
You're a tyrant.
I'm going to give you one last opportunity to sit down or leave on your own.
This is what tyrants do. I'm your political opposition. You tell me to get out of here. So I come to my base. It's Dr. Speech, man. This
Is there anybody else?
fucking bullshit. You fucking know it's fucking bullshit. I'm gonna shut the fuck up, man. This is fucking bullshit. This is fucking bullshit. Wait till I'm up there and I do that shit to you, man. You gonna like that shit? You gonna like it?
Please leave.
Hey, I'm up there and I want to come and you motherfuckers, you gonna like that shit? No, you're not, man. You're not, because it's fucking wrong. It's America, man. It's America.
We're asking you to leave.
You make it like you're asking me, but when it actually happens, you're not asking me. You're putting me in an arm bar and taking me out.
We didn't put hands on. We didn't force you out.
So you wouldn't. So if I would have just gone
Listen,
sat
the
down,
hypotheticals.
you wouldn't have done anything.
I'm just.
Okay. I'm not doing the hypothetical.
I'm stuck on the fact that the commissioner says to remove you, and you're just going to act based on that commissioner to remove me. This commissioner says he has to be removed. And you're telling me that just because...
I don't know that they would do that.
They have.
Okay.
They have.
You were part of it. What are you talking
Dale,
about?
come on.
Dale, come on. You
are you, is your... I'm sorry. I'm going to start joining him with this. Are you really that slow with the memory?
They would do that?
If we're getting into this, I'm not going to talk about it.
I'm not trying to do it, but buddy, you're really not acknowledging some of the stuff that's happened.
Okay.
We've had people removed from meetings under force. We've had Justin armbarred by 2 deputies and the sheriff and drug out of the room, and there wasn't a crime. So let's talk reality here. Now we're talking. I understand, but let's talk reality. As I said, you have a commissioner sitting there that says, Dale, remove this person from the room, and you're telling me that just because that commissioner says to do it, you're going to do it.
We are going to act. If they say they want someone else,
right,
we will go up and ask you to leave.
And if I don't comply with that ask, it will eventually become a tell, and then it will eventually become forced to get me out, correct? Come on, please, 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 please,
what happens?
Please.
Depending on
if I don't comply with the ask, and you've been told, hold on, if I don't comply with the ask and you've been told to get me out of the room.
You don't hear what you want to hear from me.
Here's what would happen. Here's what would happen. The first deputy would say, you need to get out, like he told me, and I said, no, I'm here to speak. And then another deputy would get up to escalate it. And then a third one, their supervisor, would come around the corner, and all 3 of them would corner me and herd me out of there. That's what would happen. There's no ask about it. It was get the fuck out of here because we don't want you here. Nope, but that was the message. Get out of here.
The sheriff threw the sign. He lost his cool, but we won't get into that.
That was a different time.
I understand, but I'm trying not to get to this. What I'm trying to get to is you took an oath to the Constitution, and you're telling me that your ultimate authority in this room is that commissioner up there.
No,
and
not the ultimate.
But yet, you're telling me
I'm saying if they ask us, we will move up there and say, will you leave the room?
And you are their enforcement arm to get me out of the room. And that's what I'm...
We're here to keep the peace.
I understand.
That's what we're here for.
But ultimately, if they say somebody has to leave the room, if one of those commissioners up there, especially the chair, says this person has to leave the room, is Dale just going to ask him to leave the room, and if he doesn't, you're just going to go sit down?
I would probably have a sit down with the commissioner. I would pull him aside to talk to him about it.
When? When did that ever happen? We've never seen something like that happen when people have been ejected from meetings. Never. Never, not once. It's been an immediate reaction in the room, right on camera, where the commissioner says it, police act, person's out of the room. So you're telling me now that you're going to go sit down with that commissioner and...
Not during the meeting. I mean, there have been conversations that have been had.
That'll have after. Okay, but we're not going to talk about after the fact because we've gotten into that tunnel before. After the fact doesn't matter. No. After the fact doesn't matter. After the fact does not matter. We're talking about in the present. I don't care what discussions you have about it after, just like I didn't before. The discussions after didn't matter. It matters that the fact that we have a commissioner that says, Dale, I want this person out of the room, and you're just going to do that, regardless of our constitutional rights. That's where I'm coming down.
Sure, and I understand what you're saying. I would ask you to leave the room.
Regardless of our constitutional rights.
I would ask you. Yes, I'm not forcing you out there.
Okay, and then if I say no, I'm not leaving, and the commissioner says, officer, he has to leave the room. What's your next step?
That's the question I would have to ask the commission at the time.
And then, so you're going to say to them what?
Is this something for arrest? And I don't think that would be an arrestable offense.
What if it's not arrest and they just want me out of the room?
It's a public forum. You can be here unless you're causing a disruption. Do you agree with me on that?
Yeah, but here's the, I'm trying to stay on top of this conversation because you're really good at I don't want to say twisting, but you're adding stuff into the conversation that have no context to it. You kept adding the criminal charge. I'm talking about a simple public forum issue, a limited public forum issue where a commissioner says, officer, this man has to leave. And we're getting stuck on the semantics of you're going to continue to ask me and over. We've not seen that ever. When an officer is directed that somebody has to leave, we've never seen a discussion about asking. We've seen a discussion of you have to leave now, and they escort you out, and there's no after the fact discussion happening right there. It may happen after the fact, but we are already out of the room, and we've already had our constitutional rights violated. And you've participated in it. Do you see what I'm saying?
In what?
In the violation of people's constitutional rights by only acting on that commissioner.
From when we were over at County Commission downtown?
Anytime that you have only acted based on the simple word of that county commissioner, you run a risk of violating people's rights. Unless you protect your oath to the Constitution and know what our rights are and correct them on the spot. Because it's not good enough to correct them in a meeting afterwards. Because once,
from that point going forward, they are on the same page.
Right.
What we can and can't do.
But let's take tonight, for example.
That's to your benefit.
Agreed.
And you guys are doing this to help others.
Agreed. But let's take tonight for an example. When they muted that mic, according to the courts.
Again, that's the commission.
I understand, and that's not yours. But I'm letting you know because it's important for you to understand your constitutional responsibilities here. And I'm glad that you guys did tonight. Thank you. But what happened here when they muted that mic, that is the same as removing me from the room when the courts look at it. Because that video is now, I understand, but I'm trying to give you guys a little tidbit of what's going on here because this is going to become a much bigger issue very soon.
Okay.
Because the First Amendment around here is going to get taught. And it's going to be him and I and whoever else will join us if we have to because, and him and I have some fights. But when he falls, I'm the next one. So I'm going to damn sure stand up for him. We don't always agree, do we? But I'm damn sure going to stand up for him.
I understand.
But when you have a commissioner giving you a directive that you're just going to simply follow with no thought about our constitutional rights, that's a problem. And I'm glad that you guys... Right. And it has happened.
Okay.
It has happened. Tonight, I want to thank you for the adjustment that's happened at the Sheriff's Department that doesn't let you guys get involved in their malfeasance.
Well, they didn't ask. I'm sure if you would have said, have them removed, that they would have...
Well, we'll see what happens down the road. This is going to be pushed harder, and it's going to be pushed further, and it's going to be up to you guys to remember what our constitutional rights are and not let them get you named in the lawsuit that's going to come. Because they're going to get sued over what happened tonight. They cannot cut mics and they kept counting the time. What was that? If I'm out of order and they say you're done. No, Sarah Plinsky kept holding up the little time markers the whole time I was muted. What was that? If I'm out of order, why are you still holding time? I'm supposed to leave, right?
So it's not on Zoom, basically.
No,
or YouTube, sorry.
The audio isn't, but what I'm saying is she's still counting down my time, my 3 minutes, even though I've been told I'm done. Do you know that's wow. What's going on up here? I can't figure it out.
When law enforcement forgets that their badge is bound to the Constitution, not the whims of local politicians, we lose more than a meeting room. We lose our voice. This case reminds us, your rights don't vanish just because someone in power says, leave. Always document, always question, and never forget. The Constitution is not a suggestion, and it's the only thing standing between you and unchecked authority.